Welcome to another Tuesday Livestream. This is episode number 38 of the year. I like to call it season 2. Tonight's topic is going to be about pushing your buttons, or when you have your buttons pushed. I know this is something we all have to deal with, and hopefully I can break it down, give you some advice on how to deal with this, how to take back your power, get your life back. But before we jump into everything, if you guys can hear and see me, give me a 1 in the comments so that are in the chat, so that I know that I'm actually broadcasting and things are going okay. I hope that you guys are having an outstanding evening. It's hard to believe the summer's almost over. We got, one more week, and the kids go back to school. Pretty crazy. Daughter goes off to college this weekend. She checks in on Saturday. I'll go down either Saturday night or Sunday to see how things are going. So let me get all of this lined up. All right, okay, I got a couple of ones, got a couple of people here. I like this music. It's relaxing. And there it goes. And there it ends. All right, I'm going to dive right into it. I'm going to dive into the normal desk keeping, whatever, the maintenance stuff. I am not a therapist. I'm an individual, much like you, who has been through a very traumatic experience and come up with some tips and techniques that I share with you to hopefully get you your life back, get you your sanity back, get you a step closer to minimizing the damage that your toxic ex has been wreaking on your life. This channel is both open to men and women. It is not just a guy channel. So anybody who's new, just to put that out there. If you do not have a diagnosis of MPD or something with your ex, be very cautious about throwing those diagnoses around. You don't want to get yourself into trouble, and you don't want to hurt your own case if you're in the middle of anything. And it's just, if you're talking with people who understand, that's fine, but just keep the lingo to a minimum, because it starts to make us look a little weird. If you would like to get a hold of me during tonight's live stream, you can do that by, let me come over here. You can tag me on I know you can do it on desktop and Mac and on some of the mobile platforms. Just go at DSD, which is me, and then say question. If you spell it correctly, this is my question, right? And then what you can see it is it highlights my name in orange, and it makes it easier for me to see whenever you guys are trying to talk to me. If you want to support the channel, you can do that through a super chat. If I click on the right window, that is. A little $sign where you can type in a message for a sliding scale. If you, whatever you want. If you do under $2, it won't. It'll highlight your name, but it will not let you do your comment. You can type your comment here, or question, or praise, or whatever, right in there, and that is another way of getting my attention. Move this back over here. If you are new to this channel and you have not considered hitting subscribe, and this sounds like something that could be helpful for you, press the subscribe button, ring the bell notification so that YouTube will tell you whenever I post videos and do live streams. And yeah, the other thing you can do is sign up for my newsletter at dadsurvivingdivorce.com, and it'll give you a prompt such as it does right. Oh, it didn't do it this time. That's hilarious. If it doesn't give you a prompt, you can scroll down right here, fill it out right there. And if you want to be a patron, you can hit the button here on the website. And if you hate Patreon, you can support through PayPal if you so choose. And the last thing actually is the coaching. If you want or need one-on-one coaching, I have that available. You can also, I guess I should have showed that to you a second ago. You can also find that at the website, and there's a link for coaching, or you can just go dadsurvivingdivorce.com/coaching for more information. All right. Seems like we got a quiet night, which is good. So I'm hoping, keeping my fingers crossed that it's going to be a good night. Let's see, we got a few people on tonight. We got Blue, who is on early, so thanks for jumping in early. Mr. Skulls, Chad is on. The Lazy Taco, John Boston, Laura Parks. I think you're new. Welcome, Laura. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show. And Committed to the Shift, Lyle is on. Lyle, I haven't forgot about you. It's just been a really weird week, so I will track you down. And I can't even say that. I can't even pronounce. Let me try this. Speech. Simrit, I can't even say your last name. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show. And Gwendolyn. All right. I am going to jump into tonight's topic. And I got to get my stuff all set up. Oh, we'll break in between different sections on this. So if you're new to this and you have comments on that, that would be the time to do that. If you have a question you want to ask generally, please save that till the end. Just tag me on it. If you do it now, it's a likelihood I will miss it. And YouTube has a tendency to kind of purge part of the transcript of the comments. So if you post a comment and I don't see it and you're like, I posted it before, then I probably won't ever see it. It's just kind of the way it works. And tonight's topic is about when you have your buttons pushed. And I think we all know about that, and we all have dealt with that. I'm going to break this up into 4 different areas, not mainly, but I'm going to talk a little bit about gaslighting and the origins of that term, triggers and what they look like and what they're trying to do, ways to start taking your power back, and when you are moving forward. If everything is working good and you guys are ready to move on, give me a 1 and I will press on. I need to get a haircut. I should have done that today. So let's see. Looking at, okay, so I got some 1s. Lyle said there should be a lot of boops tonight. Blue says I got bumped. Too many windows opened. Too many windows. Oh, on the live stream. Yeah. Okay. Let me get back over here. All right. Now I know a lot of us have heard the term gaslighting. And if you haven't had the opportunity to look it up, the term for it, and I'll talk about the origin in a minute, is gaslighting is fundamentally a form of psychological manipulation in which a person, primarily the person who's made you their target, seeks to sow seed of doubt in your mind, or even in groups of people whenever they're trying to make you look bad, and looking to make the person or the target or targets question their own reality, their own perception, and their own sanity. Now, this term originally came from a play that was written in 1938 by Patrick Hamilton called Gaslight. And it was subsequently made into a movie which really kind of solidified it, but that was in 1944. You can still watch the movie. Depending on where you are in your healing, you might want to wait, because sometimes things can be a little triggering, which we'll talk about here in a moment. But the whole point of the story is this guy is basically, this overbearing husband is just torturing his wife, trying to make her feel like she's going insane. And that's the whole premise of the story. And the gaslighting comes from a part in it whenever he's doing some nefarious things. And when he's doing it, the lights of the time are from gas, and more gas is being used, so the lights are dimming. And she's like, but the lights are dimming. No, they're not. That type of thing. So it's basically where you're questioning your own reality or your perception of reality. Kind of falls into cognitive dissonance as well, but I will do a separate topic on that. So let me see where we are on some of the comments before I run to the next thing. Oh, Kit Kat's is on. Hey, Kit Kat, glad you could come in. GA says, GA said, have managed to stay up UK time 1 a.m. Well, that is dedication, sir. I salute you for your perseverance. I hope that it's not because of insomnia and then you actually were just stayed up. And I apologize for all the people on the other side of the planet. I know this is a horrible time, but it is what it is. Let's see. Kit Kat says, I watched the movie. Strange thing is, it didn't look weird to me. Seemed normal. No big deal. There's a little insight into how far into the toxic world. See, and here's the other thing that I think is really fascinating about this film and this story. 1938, there's a, excuse me, there's oftentimes where we think, oh my God, this has gotten so worse. It's just blown up. There's so many narcissists out. This stuff has been around for a long time. It's just the awareness is now out there. We now have, the internet and YouTube and ways to find information out to where these people are not really able to hide in the shadows like they once were. If we look into music and popular culture and just there is examples of toxic, narcissistic, psychopathic people all over the place. I know it's weird because it seems like something that just, well, this never happened before. But when you start to take a step back, you really start to realize, oh crap, this is a lot more common. But the difference is now we are becoming more aware of it. We're learning about it. We have books about it. We have all this information that really, really is shining a light on these people. Anyways, John says, don't the narcs twist reality to make the court think that you are the bad and they are the perfect little pumpkins? Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what they do. And that's going to be a little bit of what this topic is on how to prevent that or how to catch yourself on it. Because if you do not catch yourself, if you are not aware and ready for this, it is highly possible that they will, in fact, push your buttons. They will get you to react instead of thinking about how you respond. And then they can use your own behavior against you in court. It happens, unfortunately, all the time. I had a video that I made, that I dropped, I think, maybe it was yesterday. I'm getting my days confused. That discussed just that and that happening to one of the viewers of the channel. GA says, I think if it weren't for these videos, my mind would still be trying to wonder what the hell just happened. Yeah, absolutely. Kit Kat says, after watching it a second time, 2 years out of the 10,000 YouTube videos, I see it now clearly, and I'm much healthier now. Yeah, that's. Whoops. Okay. Why is this not moving? What is going on here? Come on. There we go. All right. Okay, so the next thing is forms of triggers. I know this is going to be elementary, but I still think it's important to hit because it kind of helps you think about what they target on. So the X is going to focus on what they think. What they think you think is important. So just be prepared that whatever they think that you value, your kids, your reputation, all those different things, they're going to go after. If it's your prized, Hot Wheel collection, they'll probably try to go after that too. They're going to basically do anything to try to get you off kilter, to get you to have those PTSD responses. The other thing they are going to do that I think is just one of those amazing triggers that are just, they just love to do this, is to say no. I had somebody send me no, actually, maybe it was online. I think I saw this where, it was one of those things where somebody was like, hey, can I do this? No. It's like, it's like when they have the power to deny anything you want or just to demonstrate that they don't have to listen to you. They don't have to do anything. They can say no just because, and you have to kowtow to them. That is a big form of trigger, and it will really, really get you going. And ultimately, all of this stuff is to get you to react. Is to push your buttons to the point that it's like the whole thing when someone's poking you in the chest, poke, 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 boop, 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 and they continue to do that, trying to get a reaction from you. And unfortunately, in the early parts of this, when we don't understand this, they are incredibly effective at this. Every time that they're able to target things that are really important, or just, and it could even be attention, right? I mean, if it's like, I know that if I don't respond to you, it's going to drive you crazy. They're trying to get you to blow up. And when that happens, I mean, they're really leveraging on your PTSD and your anxiety. They are focused on that. The reality of it is that they are so, what's the word I'm looking for? Like intuitively, no, their default ability is to do this stuff, right? It's not like they're necessarily maliciously, even though it is maliciously doing it. It's like, it's easy for them to do this type of stuff because it's like their nature, right? It is their comfort zone, and it's easy. They don't feel remorse for it. They don't feel guilt for it. They are just trying to get you to go crazy. And bottom line is that's what the deal is. It can make you feel after a while like you are going crazy. I don't know how many times in the early stages of this, I would literally go to my friends and say, Am I nuts? I mean, this can't be happening. I mean, this can't be real. I mean, they're saying, or she's saying, this thing about me. I mean, and I think it's wrong, but but why would they say it if it, I mean, you start doing that to yourself. And it's very, Eduardo says toxic. It is incredibly toxic. He also says exactly, it is their nature. Let me see what else we got going on with the comments. If anyone has anything they want to hit on this, just make sure you tag me. John says, Duane, my priceless Hot Wheel collection was at another relative's house, so they didn't get it. Yeah, actually, that's an interesting point. If you're in the early stages of this and there is anything that's really sentimental or important to you, get it the F out of that environment. Give it, hand it off to a friend, have a relative hold on to it. You don't want it to be in a situation to where they physically have possession of it, because then they also might accidentally break it. It might actually get burned. You don't know what would happen. It might be a fire sale. They're like, oh, I sold it, And you need to make sure that if you do get into that situation, that you understand it and can prepare yourself for the loss, right? So like John, if his priceless Hot Wheel collection was still at the house and he's not there and he can't go get it, you need to know that the likelihood that you're going to get it back is going to be low, which again, that also is another trigger. When I finally left the house, or the first time I left the house, everything I didn't grab, I just assumed was gone. I did get some of it back, but there were a lot of things I didn't. And it is kind of, it's unfortunately the way they operate. Let me see what else everyone is saying. Again, if you want to get my attention, just tag me. Chad says, get it out or write it off. It's as good as gone / destroyed. Laura says, nope, that's to someone else. John says, my priceless guitars were kept hostage by my narc for months, and she scratched them. Yeah, that's the type of stuff I'm talking about. Actually, my guitars, I gave away to somebody. And that was early in the relationship. And it wasn't so much that I was trying to protect it. I was trying to I still was in denial of what was going on. And I was trying to demonstrate that stuff didn't matter. The relationship mattered. So I gave them away to a friend. And unfortunately later, the guy's like, look, it's your stuff. If you want it back, you can have it back. So like a year or so later, I got it back. Kit Kat says, oh no, a precious pumpkin was run over by a Hot Wheel. That's funny. I love that. John says, I had old Fenders and Rickenbackers. Oh, nice. Oh, old ones? Ugh, God, those are expensive. My dad has a 64 Strat. That's worth some money. Unfortunately, he likes to build guitars, so in his 30s, he refinished it and redid it. So it's still worth a lot of money, but it's not worth as much as it could be. I digress. Okay, let's jump into, if I can get my computer to actually decide to start playing along with me, into the next part about this. And that is taking your power back. It's like we get into this mode and it's like, how in the hell do you take your power back from somebody like this? Well, the first step, especially on when they're pushing your buttons, is recognizing that that's what they're doing. literally basically in your mind saying, oh my God, I'm being provoked. I'm being gaslit. I'm being triggered. And because if you can recognize it, you can put an interrupt in your own mind to stop, to give yourself time to slow down and to think. Because that is the key. When someone's poking, like go back to that analogy of someone just poking you on the chest. I'm poking you on the chest. I'm poking you on the chest. If you're not thinking about it, you're just going to get irritated at some point. You're going to explode and be like, why the hell are you doing that, right? That type of thing. But if you realize what they're doing, and the next part of this is like, look at what they're trying to get you to do. When someone's poking you in the chest, they're looking to try to get you to respond. They're trying to get you to react. They're trying to get you to react in a way that demonstrates what they're saying about you, right? I mean, when someone's poking you in the chest, 99% of the time, they're not doing it in public. They're doing it when no one's looking. When no one's looking, they're poking, right? And that's exactly what your ex is doing. They're doing these things to try to get you triggered, to respond in a way to paint the picture for the story that they're trying, basically that they're making up. They want you to play your part. Bottom line is when you start to realize that, when you start to really see it, when you slow yourself down and you take that step back and you realize, oh my God, this is what they're trying to do. And when you realize that not reacting is giving you your power back, it's power for you. And I'll tell you, when I finally started realizing that, and I would like, oh, okay, man, she's trying to get a reaction out of me. And when I wouldn't do it, it felt empowering. Now, I realized that before you get to that empowering part of it, it feels like, oh my God, if I don't respond or I don't say something, then I'm saying it's okay, or I'm not putting a boundary down or whatever. And that is part of the trap. And that's part of what they're counting on. They're counting on that normal human nature, that normal human instinct to react whenever you're being provoked, and they're banking on it. But here's the thing. Bottom line is, whenever you don't follow their script, when you don't do what they're trying to get you to do, it drives them a bit crazy. And we'll get more into that in a moment, on the significance of that, because that is a really significant part about this. Now, let me see where we got going on. GA says, Duane, no reacting at all has helped. No contact at all. Just haven't seen my daughter in 7 months. And that's, and that's part of the trigger, right? That's part of the provocation and it's a double-edged sword on not when you're not seeing your kids, because they're going to do two things. One, they're hoping that you're going to get so irritated that you're going to explode. They're going to be like, "Oh, you're violating the court order. GA violated the court order, or he sent me a nasty email. Look what I have to deal with." And it's either that, and if you're not, then they turn around and say, "Oh, well, GA doesn't care. GA hasn't seen his kid in 7 months, and he doesn't even care. He doesn't even ask about her." Right? It's. I should have put this in the slides, but it's bottom line. It's part of that double bind. You get in those modes where there is not a lot of good answers. There was I don't know if it was a comment or an email that I haven't had a chance to respond to from a lady who was having a very similar situation to that, where the ex is taking them back to court, and it's one of those things where trying to make it to get the kids to give them a hug. And the person is trying to set boundaries, is trying to not do it, and then, said, "Hey, we got to go. Sorry, we don't have time for this," whatever. The person follows them to the venue. And it's all a spectacle, right? So the person is still saying, "Hey, no, come on, Johnny, we need to go. We're late, whatever." And it's all a provocation to try to get you to respond and react. Now, again, let me get back on the double binds on this. Oftentimes, we are in situations where all the solutions are not good, right? You do exactly what you're supposed to do, and what you're legally, you have every right to do, and it hurts you, or puts the kids in the middle. You don't do that, and you're letting the person get away with crap. It's really tough to be able to look at these situations and see the bigger picture and what's trying to be accomplished, and be able to play that chess game, even though sometimes they're basically playing checkers, but to see what the moves are, and then to be able to make the best bad decision that you can in the situation that you're in. So let me check and see what else everyone's saying before I go to the next part about this. Chad says she went after my VA disability too. It took a court trial, but yes, I did. And then they will go after all kinds of stuff. I mean, anything that they can, they will. And it's annoying. So I was chatting with somebody about that the other day too. Not a great thing. Let's see. All right, so I'm going to move on to the moving forward. So moving forward, what exact? Okay, so now if you're at that part to where you finally are understanding and you can kind of stop yourself, and that's the main thing on this is you got to follow all the previous stuff, right? So if I come back over here, if you go back to all this, I mean, it's like recognizing what they're doing, stopping yourself, slowing yourself down to think, figuring out what they're trying to get you to do, realizing that they're taking your power. Well, okay, so that's a big part of moving forward. But as you get better at this, you're going to be able to predict what they're going to do. You're going to be able to predict the games that they're going to play. And the key part about this is being able to build your own script, not following their script, but building your own script on how you're going to respond. I was chatting with a coaching client the other day about this specific, this issue actually came up. And there's some stuff in that particular story where they're really concerned about some things being exposed. And it's like, it's probably going to happen. Work in your head how you're going to respond. Don't allow yourself, and what I'm talking about on that is like, you work in your head what these people are going to do and have a plan on how to deal with it. Have a plan on how you're going to respond. Have a plan on how you will interface with other people about it. Because by doing that, it allows you to maintain your sanity, it maintains the illusion of your stability and your pose, and just making sure that you don't fall into their trap, that you don't fall into their script, that they don't set a bomb for you to go off. For instance, what I'm talking about, like if I can use an example for myself, as soon as I realized that every time that I had the kids, the ex was going to do something, I recognized that was going to happen, and I didn't at the time because I didn't understand, but I should have been building a script on how to deal with it in my head and how to make sure that it did not affect my sanity, stability, and my pose whenever it happened. Unfortunately, in my situation, she was a master at dropping those, like most of ours are, right? I mean, this is not anything, this isn't any groundbreaking, like, oh my God, mine did this, because every one of our exes does this. They find a way to drop a bomb right in the middle of a special event or even just your normal visitation to try to get you to, going back to these other slides, to gaslight you and to get you to blow up, to get you to react. That's what it's all about. That's what they're trying to do. And that's what they're going to focus on. Now, here's the thing. When you're able to do this, right? Whenever you're able to flip the script and not take their bait, not do what they're trying to get you to do, it starts, like I mentioned earlier, it starts to drive them crazy. And the really interesting part, most of the time, not always, depending on how cunning of a narcissist they are, their actions start to expose them. They start to look like the problem. And it's a lot of it's, here's the thing. A narcissistic person, they are able to maintain their sanity. They're able to maintain their image. They're able to maintain their method of communication. It's real easy for them when they're pushing buttons to act all calm, cool, and collected. By not following their script, by not taking their bait, what ends up happening is that spotlight freaking switches and points right back at them, and they're not ready for that. And if anyone questions them, most of the time, if they're saying, well, Billy is just such a horrible person, and Billy doesn't respond the way that happens, and the flying monkey's like, well, Sue, you said Billy was like this, and he, I ran into him the other day, and he didn't do any of that, right? And it backfires on them. Let them expose themselves. Give them enough rope for them to hang themselves. Now, that was rather quick, but that was tonight's topic. That's tonight's topic on pushing buttons. I'm curious what you guys think about that. I know that was a little bit faster. I was trying to make it a little bit faster. If you guys like that, give me a 1 in the comments, and I am going to see where we are in the comments. Pencil, very good question. Says, how do you say no without dealing with consequences or dealing with zero consequences? Pencil, it's really tough because here's the deal. Anytime you defy a toxic narcissistic person and you don't follow their script, they don't necessarily go scurrying off under, into the darkness. Oh, I'm getting a lot of 1s. Thank you guys. And they're generally going to provoke it more, right? And that's when you go back into that thing where I was talking about, you begin to be able to let me go back over here. When you over here, whenever, you begin to be able to predict what they're saying or what they're going to do, you need to be able to predict that. You need to be able to say, okay, I'm going to have a boundary. I'm going to stay with my boundary. There more than likely will be consequences, which means they're going to ramp it up, and you just stay firm to your guns. You still stay firm to it. And they will do all kinds of different things. So, all right. Blue says, Duane, did your wife... Oh, sorry, I read that wrong. Did my wife ever hang herself? Yeah, actually she did. It's really weird because when I stopped trying to tell people like, oh my God, she's, this is the type of person she is, and keep in mind when I'm doing that, I'm going, I'm doing the Team America World Police, distress call, if you guys have ever seen that. And whenever I was doing that, it hurt my credibility. When I would just basically said, it's a difficult situation. Actually, the best one was whenever I didn't say anything. I'm like, the person was like, I don't want to get in the middle of it. I'm like, hey, I don't want to get in the middle of it. It's a difficult situation. I don't want to talk about her, whatever, but this is about the kids, in that particular situation. But yeah, most of the time they start to expose themselves. Whenever, and if there's somebody who has interaction with both of you, that's typically when it works a little bit better because they can see the contrast. You just have to be careful because anytime that you try to defend yourself in a certain way, you typically don't come across sane, stable. You come across as unhinged, not stable, very anxious. And then it's real easy for them to say, see, that's what I'm dealing with. That's what I was dealing with. That's why we're not together. So, okay, I'll show that one. Okay. Just sometimes when you guys say certain things, YouTube catches it just in case. Master Skull says, what I read. No, it was just the way it was written. I never mind. It was not a big deal. Simrat says it's been 7 months no contact, and he's blocked out that he doesn't stop. Wait a minute. It's been 7 months no contact, and he's blocked, but that doesn't stop him from calling constantly. What does he get out of that? What he gets is the sense that he's able to, that you put up a boundary, that you blocked him. How dare you block him? And you can't block me. And now he's doing these other things. That's what it is. It's a power play. It's 2 parts. One is it's either defiance because you want him to stay away, so he's not going to stay away, or, and this is part of it too, is so that you're constantly thinking about him. So you're always going, why won't he leave me alone? Why, it's like if the guy's name is Bill, it's like, Bill. Constantly you're being reminded of Bill. That's what it's about. They want you to keep them in your head. So you just keep blocking and Simret, if I'm saying your name correctly, if it gets down to it, you file a restraining order or a stalking order to try to get them to stop. And it's that's the type of crap that they do just because they can. It's a power play for them. John says, Duane, I have that going on. My narc thinks she can blow all of our money in court and just blame me for her planning her divorce and stealing the kids and doing a kids for money game. Yeah, it's really weird because, that's starting to become more, it's I don't want to say mainstream. What I'm trying to say is people see it more, right? I know it's always happened, but now people are realizing it's happening. And I was talking to a friend of mine who this was a bizarre story. He was like, "Hey, I want to tell you a story about, a friend of mine and their kids and their situation." And he was like, "Hey, the dad, a stay-at-home dad, made less money. Mom was in the in the entertainment industry and making $4 million a year. They get divorced. She decides she doesn't want to be married anymore, and she's a breadwinner, so now she's paying child support, alimony, all those different things. The guy's since remarried, so I guess alimony's out of it. But she quits her job. She gets into a contract dispute because she didn't get the amount of raise that their male counterpart got, and she showed them, and she walked off. And I'm like, oh dear God, that will just destroy her life. And it did. I mean, so she's still got to pay the child support. She's still got to do all those things. She can't get hired. She's ruined her career. And the California courts don't care. It's like, you did that on purpose. You were making this. This is what you owe on child support. You need to figure it out. So, not that I ever think it's good to be a slave to someone else, but a lot of times they will, I don't know how, that doesn't necessarily pertain to what John was saying, but it just, I could see how that's how it typically happens. You get irritated that someone did that, that you're having to pay somebody and you want to sabotage it. Guys, anybody who's in that situation, for the love of God, just get your bill as low as you possibly can, okay? And then make sure you pay it until it's over. Don't play any games. Don't screw around with it. Don't get behind. And I know that a narcissist, I mean, it blows my mind how a toxic person, male or female, can manipulate the system. I mean, there is a ton of people that chat to me on the back end or do coaching who are dealing with situations where their exes make a ton of money and are able to hide it and get away with it. And it's like, holy crap. I ended up one time, I'm $200 in arrears, and they try to, take away my birthday. And it's amazing. It is incredible what these people can get away with. So I digress. So Simret says, so if I delete him out of my contacts, will that take it off my block list? Yes, you got my name right. I don't want to change my number. Yeah, I mean, like I know on my phone, I can pick a number. I could pick any number I want, and on my, and I'm sure you can do this on almost any service. I'm on Verizon, and you can just basically on the number that comes in. Not pick Debbie. That was not that one. There's even if you don't even have them in your thing, you can say block the caller, and that's what I would do. I mean, if it really came down to it, there are other things you can do. It's a little more complicated where people have to have codes and stuff to get through to you, but that doesn't sound like what you want. But yeah, I mean, that's what you need to do. And unfortunately, as he keeps changing numbers, it's going to make it tough. And unfortunately, there's also services out there like Burner app that you can basically get a new phone number almost every day. You can make a call and kill it and do it again. So, but I guess technically, if you're blocking it and you're actively doing it, it's just making it harder for them to do it. I personally, Simrat, I would not respond to them though. I mean, if it gets to the point to where it's stalking and you need to talk to an attorney, that's one thing. But trying to discuss, to engage with him or anyone else is not good. And you also don't want anyone else to know that it's bothering, that's going to get back to him, that his efforts are working, right? Because that just empowers it. If he thinks it's not working and you don't care, then he'll move on to something else, which could be, equally as bad, but it's something for, it's just part of what they do. John says, Duane, my narc stole all my disability money. That is for my kids with a restraining order. Oh, because your kids get disability money and she's taking it. Yeah, and I know that sometimes what the courts will do is they won't even pretend like that's like, well, that money doesn't count. That's their money. That's the kid's money, so it doesn't count. So we're not going to count that on your bill, and we're not going to count it on her earnings. It's just the system is just completely jacked. Jack said, my son told his sister I was a master manipulator. Wonder where he got that from, Jack. So, yeah, it's just, and I say that only because I know more of her story off the Discord. So there's a lot of stuff going on. That does not surprise me, but I am sorry that that's happening. Chad says, I deleted my narc off of everything but email and phone contact. I had to cut the ties that bind. To GTFO of the stupidity. Get the F out. Trill says, Duane, did your ex play mind games in court as if you were losing everything? Wait a minute. Did your ex play mind games in court as if you were losing every time in court when you were fighting for custody? Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it was one of those things that even if, it's tough because even if you don't get a crushing victory, they think they won, right? And then anything, and it really gets bizarre because, you could be asking for something that you don't even care about, but if they get it, if you don't get it, then it's like, oh, I won, right? I mean, they feel like, woo, I got what I wanted, and you didn't, because you wanted this. It's like, oh, whatever. So yeah, Trill, they're going to play all kinds of mind games. You just have to keep it in perspective. And I know in the court part, it's tough because you're in the middle of court, you're dealing with it, right? I mean, these answers or decisions on these issues are serious. They are significant. So Chad says she blocked me early on. That was a part of what got her on the judge's bad side. I hadn't seen her spoken to them in over a month. See, that's what's cool whenever they actually mess themselves up. My ex still has me like block on Facebook and stuff. It used to be annoying just because like whenever, the kids posted something and it would be like, oh, there's one comment on their post and you go to it. Oh, there's no comments on the post, right? It's like, oh, okay. So, mommy responded. So, oh, nice. John says, Duane, my narc called me mental in court and it blew up on her. Now she's telling the kids I'm mental and she said I'm psycho and narcissistic or narcissist. She takes what she is and says it to me, which is very common projection. Hey, here's the other thing I just want to mention on this. And this did come up in a comment the other day. Remember that a smear campaign or the character assassination is typically because they know that you know who they are. They know it. They're freaked out that people are going to believe you. So if they can destroy your reputation, make you out to be the crazy psycho narcissist, male chauvinist pig if you're a guy or crazy psycho if you're the woman, that's what they do, right? They do that to try to make it to where whenever you say, oh my God, my ex did this, that they can be like, well, I told you she was crazy. I told you he was nuts. Of course he's going to say that, right? That's it. No, you know me. That never happened, right? I mean, it's part of that ruining your credibility so that whenever you do say something about him, that no one believes. No one believes it. Like, well, that can't be true. I know you. You're an awesome human being. You're a manipulative person. What I mean is whenever someone is, when they're doing that, right? I mean, it happens. What's really bizarre is until you've been through this, I don't know what let me ask this question. I want to get a 1 if you guys agree with this and a 2 if not. But how many of you would agree with this comment that before you realized what you were dealing with, when you heard someone basically smear somebody, you believed it because how you didn't even think anyone would lie about it. But now, whenever you hear someone say, "Oh, my ex is such a, not a narcissist, but they're so this and that," do you find yourself now going, "Huh, well, let me get a little bit more information before I just jump to believe this person"? So if you're on top with that, give me a 1. If you think if you're like, "No, I've never had that," or "I never believe people," give me a 2. So, okay, I'm seeing a bunch of 1s. Yeah, it's amazing, right? It's like. And I would say even go a step further on this and say that most of us, when we were in that mode, whenever we would believe people, we were living a nightmare we didn't even realize. And we still would believe it, right? I mean, it wasn't until, at least for me, it wasn't until I went through this situation, I'm dealing with the smear campaign. I'm dealing with the crap in court. I'm dealing with the allegations, and I'm just blindsided. That was when I was like, oh my God, people make crap up. People take things out of context. Completely blew my mind. And it completely changed my perspective on how I believe anything with anybody. So now when people talk about stuff, yeah, Chad says, I always... Well, that's good, Chad. Chad says, too, I always talk to the target. I was like Jack, who says, I was very naive. I was incredibly naive. I did get burned a couple of times at work where someone would... I remember this one point when I was in the service, there was a female airman who said, they just, I was in a shop and like, they won't let me do anything. All they ever want me to do is do secretary work and answer the phone, and I want to do my job. And I went to bat for her. I'm like, that is totally messed up. So I told another person, I'm like, hey, Airman Snuffy over here, she's great, but no one will let her work. Okay. So they pulled her over to do some work, and she was not interested in doing any work. And that was one of the first times I realized, wow, whenever you throw your name out towards somebody and you vouch for them and they burn you, that's a hit on you. So I started to get a lot more cautious on who I would give ringing endorsements to. And I was really bummed. I really blew my mind because it was, she was not happy whenever they were like, okay, cool. It was, I worked in a radio area. She was a radio electronics tech like I was. I was doing land mobile radio stuff. The person I basically said who needed help was the public address person at our career field, did all those things, like the speakers in buildings and stuff. So he was like, hey, cool. I could use some help. So I'll take her and she can help me run cables and put these speakers on. And she blew up. It was not good. That didn't last. And then she went back to the shop so she could, just not do work. So that was a little story time. Hope you guys don't mind that. John says, Duane, my narc ex has poisoned the kids with those lies and make crap up, and the kids know she's lying. When my kids are with me, they are not in the spell of the narc like they were. John, and that is the key, man. And that is the key for everybody. Gauge your success on how your children are, if you have children, when they are with you without the ex. And I don't mean like the ex dropped them off or you went and picked them up and you're taking them to McDonald's and you get them for 2 hours. I'm not talking about that 2-hour mark. Now, granted, let me just back up. If in that 2-hour mark, they're love, they're affectionate and they're hugging on you and all that kind of stuff, that's a great sign. But typically it takes a little bit more time for them to acclimate back to being with you. So Lyle says Snuffy. Yeah, honestly, Lyle, it's one of those things. I don't know what it is. And what is it? Chad says Private Snuffy, generic lower enlisted soldier. I don't even know where the name came from, but that's what we always call it. If we're talking about instead of like Airman Smith or Private Smith, it's Snuffy. I don't know where it came from. For as long as I can, since when I was in the Air Force, and even I'm still deal with Air Force people. That is the term we use for the generic. For the what is it? The generic lower enlisted soldier. Yeah, because you're right. You never say Colonel Snuffy, or do you? I'm trying to remember if I ever said that. I don't know. That's funny, but that's where that comes from, Lyle. I guess I'm showing my military roots are coming out again. Mr. Skull says Groundhog Day saved my bacon. Good, man. If you guys don't know, I used to make a bunch of videos. I'm assuming he's talking about the Groundhog Day videos that I made in the past, and that's what I call those transition times is Groundhog Day, right? Because it's like every day starts over. You can have 5 days with them. Everything's great. They go back to the other house. As soon as they walk in the door, it's not like they never left. It's like everything that you did the previous time comes back up. Oh, Chad says Private Snuffy came up in the World War II from a comic. Well, that's good. I did not know that, Chad. Thanks for letting me know. John says, Duane, my girls need their dad. Yes, they do. Their mom has zero patience to teach them how to drive, and they like driving my car. She is realizing that she can't be a mom and dad to the girls. That's cool, though. At least you get a chance to do that. Mine, actually, it was really interesting. My only one that drives is my middle daughter, our middle daughter. She drove with me a couple times, didn't want anything to do with it, and I was completely put out of it. And I know what it was. She wanted to do all the fun stuff, right? So she wanted to be the one to teach them to drive and to go get their driver's license and have their driver's license have their address, which they don't even live at anymore, which just creates all kinds of problems, which is super awesome. And that did trigger me back in the day. That was only a couple of years ago. It was kind of annoying, but and I knew what it was. She was like, okay, well, I'll do all the fun stuff, and your dad can pay for everything. Unfortunately, X has destroyed me, financially, so I can't do anything. Right? My middle daughter has a driver's license, but I can't pay for the insurance. I can't get her a vehicle. I can't afford to put gas in it. I can barely get. It's tough. On that, I did a consolidation loan today to try to get me on a track to where maybe I can get out of this nightmare. And then realized after I did it that I forgot another bill. So there's another chunk of change that I have to come up with. But anyways, it looks like that was approved. So either it's going to bury me or it's going to help me have a plan for the next 3 years to start to try to get my life, my financial life back. Blue says, Duane, you get to pay for everything. Not cool. Yeah, honestly, if I will say, this blows my mind. My ex did actually sign the loan paperwork for our daughter to go to college. Granted, it was caveated that I will not pay this. You are going to pay this, but she did, and I'm blown away. But had I not paid for the deposit paid for the entrance fee, the deposit to when she was accepted, the deposit to accept the acceptance, and the deposit for the dorms, she wouldn't be going right now. So, yep, I have to pay for everything most of the time. Fat Fender says a lottery win would be nice. Yeah, absolutely would be. Who knows? Maybe I'm a winner. Oh, wait a minute, it's not yet. I don't normally buy lottery tickets, but I did this weekend. So send good vibes my way. If everything goes well, I'll be going full-time YouTube in the coming months because I won the lottery. That would be phenomenal. That would be one of those things that I would just be like, what just happened? Anyways, Jay says, I feel bad for my daughter. We were close. One day I will return in her life. Yeah, guys, see, here's the other problem with this. You can get into the mode, rightfully so. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with this, that you get really irritated about the time lost, right? It's like, I was denied, my kids at a certain age, I was not able to be a part of whatever. And yes, that's true, but there's also a lot of time, so hopefully, I know some of us, it gets completely destroyed. I understand that, but for, the majority, maybe a little bit more, maybe, 60% of us, we do get the relationships back. And that's, it's important. You got to keep it in perspective, right? You can focus on any aspect you want, right? Just like what I was just talking about. I could focus on the fact that I wanted to be able to help my kids. I wanted to be able to get them, let them drive to high school and give them walking around money and to be able to get them nice things. And I've tried in a lot of ways to do that, but I could stay angry at that. And I would be justified in doing it, but it doesn't do anything for me, right? So I had to let all of that anger and that frustration go. And when you get to the point that you can do that, and it's tough, it's really tough to get to that point. That is not an easy thing to do. It starts to change. It fundamentally changes your life. It changes the focus of what you're doing. And things start to get better. Does it fix the things that have happened? No, right? I've missed, a bunch of time. I've missed half the time with my kids, right? Okay. There are special events that I didn't get to go to because they decided they wanted their mom to go to, and their mom was like, well, if your dad goes, I'm not going, right? do all that crap in the early stages. And I went through the phases where whenever she finally decided that, oh, okay, now it's okay, it just irritated me. And I'm like, no, you don't get to be a complete ass, ass hat before, and now whenever it's convenient for you, you get to just decide. But unfortunately, in a lot of ways, they do. I had to just decide I didn't care anymore, that I was going to focus on when I had my kids and trying to do the best I can. And I feel like I've done a lot with all three of my kids. I think I've had better success with some other than with others. And I just, it's just part of the hand you're dealt. I mean, everyone has to deal with some type of catastrophe in their lives. I mean, there are people who aren't going through what we're going through, and they lose a kid. Meaning they pass away. They get some stupid disease that's non-curable, and that happens. I mean, there are all kinds of different things that can be thrust upon you in every aspect of your life. This is what we've been given, right? My situation is mine. Other people who haven't, I won't say his name, but I mean, like other people on the channel who basically lost the last part of their kids' lives. I mean, it's like, it's different scenarios, but we have to figure out how to make the most of it. Because I guarantee you guys, I could have sat here 8 years ago when all this stuff started, and I could still be a bitter, angry person that hated my ex, that just was constantly thinking about, when's she going to get hers? And my life would be horrible right now. And my health isn't great, but I mean, it would be, all of that would even be compounded. And it's like, for what? Does it hurt? Does it hurt the person that's doing it? Does it hurt them? If we're sitting there staying angry and allowing them to effectively destroy our lives, does that help? I mean, does that hurt them? No, it makes it's supply for them. If they realize, yes, I destroyed that person, they were they were going to expose me, so I destroyed them. They are a shell of themselves. They've lost everything, and they're sitting there going, "Mwah, ha, 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 ha," because they're evil SOBs. Don't give them that. You deserve so much we all deserve so much more. If you've lost everything, if everything has gone to complete shit, I'll just say it, and you've lost everything, and you've lost your kids, and you've lost your job, and you've lost your home, and whatever, okay, hit the fucking reset button. Say, okay, all right, fine. I can stay here and be mad about it forever, and you'd have every right to be, but it hurts you. Or you say, you know what? Forget it. I'm starting over, and I'm going to try to find a way to enjoy what life I have left. I don't know. I mean, that's my take on it. I know that's not an easy thing to do. And I know it was hard for me. I mean, I know. I mean, when I was the first 4 years and I was just looking at everything, I'm just like, this is a train wreck. My life is a train wreck. Everything I've worked for has been erased. At the time, at the beginning that was happening, my relationship with my kids was in shambles with my older two. The youngest one, she didn't understand. She wasn't buying into the crap, so she didn't care. She was getting hurt because when she would say something, everyone would attack her. I remember times we'd all be together, and what was she, 6 or 7 years old? She would say something, and her brother and sister would start yelling at her or whack her or something. Like, don't say that. And she didn't care. She just wanted, she wanted to spend time with her dad, just like she wanted to spend time with her mom. But it's just, I saw, like I was saying, I get how tough it is. I mean, I was so freaking angry. I remember thinking about that. It was like, oh my God, my life is ruined. My career is ruined. My retirement is ruined. My savings everything's ruined. My credit is, everything's ruined. I can't get anything. I couldn't even get a credit card, to buy tires. It was just like my whole life felt like it was completely out of control. I had the kids poking me in the eye. And I was in a place a lot like a lot of you guys are on this, that, when you guys tell me your stories or you ask your questions, most of the time I can absolutely relate to where you're at because I was there. It's tough. It's tough. Okay. I kind of went on a tirade there. So hopefully you guys don't mind. GA said, Duane, thing is, I do not think about my wife at all. I'm not angry, started a new job, and it's about my daughter, but not all of the time. Otherwise, would go crazy. I go running. Yeah, and that's the thing is we start to I mean, there's still going to be always something that connects with it. But, you know, I mean, we just got to pick it up. Dude, that's awesome. The fact that you're at that mode that you're not angry and you're kind of moving on with your life, and it's just now it's kind of isolated down with the crap that's happening with your daughter. And then hopefully your kids will start to see it. My youngest is actually starting to see it. My middle one, I'm not entirely sure. Andrew says, thank you, Duane, or thank you for the tirade, Duane. Thanks, Andrew. I appreciate that. Oh, I missed that. I want to see that again. Oh. Okay. Tara says, yes, that's it. Reset. It took me 25 years to get rid of the ex, living my life now. Just me having fun when I can. Peace of mind is everything. It really is, guys. And see, that's the thing that scares me on this. Let me paraphrase that because that didn't sound right. What I mean is I know that had things happened differently, I would still be in that relationship. And that to me is so tragic. The people that get stuck in these things and never get their lives back, that are constantly living in these modes and never get to experience that peace of mind, that they are constantly living in an environment where they're being triggered and they're being gaslit and they're being just completely messed with. So, all right, let's see. Gary says, wow, I can resonate something large. Thank you so much. Not exactly sure what that means, but you're welcome. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna say that, but, all right. Wow. We've actually been going for an hour, man. That went fast. And I did the topic pretty quick. So if there are any other questions, please post those now. If you want to support the channel, do the super chat thing. Better yet, become a patron. Become a patron. I have six total people who've done that. So thank you if any of those people are online right now tonight, thank you very much for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I thought James said, okay. All right. So since this keeps coming up, for the most part, and John, and I know this isn't directed at you, but as a general rule, I keep MGTOW off of this channel just because most of the trolls come from that. So there's a part of MGTOW that can be positive. Oftentimes though, it's not. I actually do have keyword. I have that word or that phrase. It's key to flag comments. So actually, I'm surprised to be honest, I'm surprised, Chad, that it allowed you to even do that. But I don't know. That's what the deal is with that, and that's why James deleted that message. I digress. So yes, fat fingers, thumbs ups. 20. Come on, guys. There's 54 people here. Let's get a couple more thumbs up besides 25. And every time I say that, someone gives a thumbs down. So now I'll wait for the numbers to go down. Anyways, Samrat says, thank you, Duane. I just found you 2 days ago. Really like your approach on this. Well, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show. And I'm glad it's helpful for you. So, and we have a new subscriber, Ackholmes. I don't know if you're on the live stream, but welcome to the channel. And, oh, John says, what is Patreon? Patreon. It is you know what? I wonder if I can, let me try this. Patreon. I wonder if I'm logged in. Let me see if I can make this. Okay. So if Patreon is a fan funding site, right? So let me just do this. I'll just go to, whoops, let me click on the right window first. So Patreon is a way for people to support creators, YouTubers or musicians or artists or whatever. And it's a way that you can say, hey, you know what, Duane, I like what you're doing. I want you to keep doing it. And I'm going to support you in that. And so I have a Patreon/DSD Duane. and then it pulls into this. I have a couple of different tiers because they have tiers. You get some behind the scenes things on what's going on, and there's it's like a monthly membership thing. And actually on this, I say I got it broken up into 3 tiers. I got what's the first one called again? It's Keep It Going. I got the DSD Crusader, and then a Fog Crusher. I'm trying to figure this whole thing out, and I try to do. I did one Patreon only thing. Actually, I didn't realize it, but I actually said that the Patreon only meeting was for the Crusader level. The last one I did for everybody, so I need to change that because I'm planning on just doing it for everybody. So it's like a Zoom meeting to where we all get to sit down and basically talk. So instead of this one thing where I can read your comments, we can actually have a conversation. So that's what Patreon is, and that's what a lot of people had asked me to do that, which is why I did it. So if you are so inclined to say, hey, Duane, you're doing a good thing, and you know what, I can throw you $5 or whatever a month just to help keep this going, then that's what it's about. So, and it's a way that I can actually send information out in that forum as well. I know some people don't like Patreon, but it is what it is. If I was at 30,000 subscribers, then I could do the membership thing on YouTube, but they won't. I can't do anything until I need 9,000 more subscribers. GA said, Duane, it was good catching up with you, my friend in America, always lifting up my spirits and making the world a smaller and friendlier place. Well, have a good night, and thanks for hanging out with us and for participating. I appreciate it. Let me double check to make sure that I didn't miss anybody's comment after I said, ask me, throw out a question before I do that. So I'm just going to scroll back a little bit. I read that one. Let's see. Read that one. AK, hey AK, welcome to the channel, welcome to the show. Says, Duane, you are a lifesaver, man. Well, thank you. That's what I'm trying to do here. Trying to help you guys see that there is a way out of this. Because I tell you, you know what? When I was going through this and someone would say, oh, it just gets better. How the fuck does this get better? Right? I mean, it's like, this isn't getting better. Like I was talking about before when I was kind of going through my dark days on this. It would have been nice if I could have found something like this to say, yes, it does get better. But this is how it gets better, and this is the steps that you have to take to do it, and it ain't going to just happen on its own, right? You have to take some active steps on it. Yeah, I think I had too much coffee earlier today, James. So normally I don't do that. So I apologize for anyone who, because I normally try to keep this a swear-free zone. Normally I don't do that, but obviously for whatever reason I am doing it tonight. So I apologize for anybody who's offended. I was going to say if you'd rather me not, give me a 1, but then that would potentially call you out. And I'm not wanting anyone to do that. Got better for Jim the Hobo. Man, I forgot about him. If you're talking about Jim the Hobo, the actual YouTube channel, I used to subscribe to him. I'd have to follow up with him. That's interesting. I hadn't even thought about him. I'll have to look him up. If that's who, hey, how do I even say that? Hold on, speech, start talking. PIS, I don't know how to say that. Are you talking about Jimmy the Hobo on YouTube? Laura Park says, I wish I knew what this was sooner. Oh, dear God. I think most of us, I think the biggest, regret's not the right word. Regret, no. Joy? No, not joy. Joy is not the right word either. The thing I'm most proud of, I guess, is when I find out that I catch somebody early on, that they are just at the beginning or they haven't left yet, and it's like, to be able to dump this knowledge into somebody before they are in the midst of it, because you can really make some decisions that can help you. But whatever. Whenever we find out, we find out. Kit Kat says, Duane, we call that in case of emergency language over here. That's funny. I love that. All right, guys. On that, James, I think we need an F-bomb Friday. That's pretty funny. Now I completely lost my train of thought. On that, I'm going to wrap this up. thank you for hanging out with me on this Tuesday. Thanks for being part of the discussion and for supporting the channel. I think I just broke 21,000, so that was kind of cool. That was the longest 1,000 jump. Things got, by taking a hiatus in July, it didn't help things. Kay Lily says, sorry, I just realized you had the live stream. Oh, and I'm just getting ready to end, Kay. Sorry. All right, guys. On that, have a great night. I got my daughter going to college this weekend, so I will be out of town, minus some coaching calls that I'll be doing on Saturday. On that, I will see you guys next Tuesday for the live stream, and I should have if I can get my editing done, there will be another video for tomorrow. So on that, guys, have a great night, and I will talk to you on the next video and the next live stream. Take care. Bye.